Okay.
I remember getting hired by you and Larry
Yes.
on one case
Yes.
to start with in one classroom with a very difficult student.
But even before that, Larry contracted with you to come talk with all the principals.
Yes.
And,
I forgot about that.
right, and you, just to describe, really it was to describe the repertoires and how you had first begun to, developing them, and the whole, which grew into, of course, the CLM model. But that was in 1995?
Well, I moved down to this area in '86, so it actually was before
Oh,
that.
it was before
because you all sent somebody up to see my school.
Right, right,
In Antigua.
Right.
In Antigua Handicap Center, where I was working with adults.
right.
I remember that. And then I started going down once or twice a week. And I liked it so much that...
And started the action planning
Yes.
process, which involved all the principals and a couple of key teachers.
Yeah.
And
And you were perfect in that because you played as a member.
yes,
You
yes.
did not overrule anybody. You abided by the rules.
No, I'm a good rule follower, mostly.
We did that for about 3 years.
We did, and it was a process that was carried on even after Vicci left that particular role with the county office. We would utilize that whole action planning process and procedure within programs. And then it really got going and focused when what at that time was called the Severe Disorders of Language program for kids with communication disorders. But that was bringing in then more and more autistic kids.
A lot more.
A lot more.
Yeah.
And with some pretty severe behavioral challenges. And so then a group of teachers from that program met with Gail and I. Gail Ulich was the principal, and we would meet at Gail's house once a month and go over programming issues and classroom assignments and implementing the CLM and hammering through the differences of opinion and so forth, and learning a lot more about a behavioral approach to our educational program. And Vicci was still then very much involved we began referring particular cases to you that we couldn't figure out what to do with, I guess. And Vicci came in and did an analysis of the behavior and began teaching us about arranging and rearranging the environment for improved control over the kids through just the use of the environmental structure and the furniture, and helped us learn how to identify kids as green, yellow, red.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And also helped us know that, well, something we did kind of know, it's never good to have a classroom with only all red kids, because that was just too challenging for the kids and the support staff.
Potentially injurious kids.
Right,
The red kids.
right. They were.
The yellow kids, we were cautious. They could have gone that way, and we were trying to get the repertoires, but we were just relying on the CLRA at that time.
Yes, we were.
Didn't have a
we weren't
curriculum.
really using the model at all because it wasn't quite ready. We were just using the CLRA and for screening and assessment purposes, and really used it a lot to help assign kids to various teachers, based also on the teacher strengths and their requests. Because I always thought it was best if you could work with teachers in ways that they wanted to be worked with, and acknowledging their strengths and also, acknowledging their weaknesses. We all had a lot of we still have a lot of weaknesses probably, but not as many as we did back then. So the program ended up very influential, very important. Kids made good progress, and we all learned a lot.
I think the thing that was most useful to me with Michelle as administrator is we would meet often and I would discuss situations with her. And some teachers were in the habit of getting rid of kids from their classrooms. And that way, by doing that, they weren't really motivated to use me. Because if they used me, the kids stayed.
Right.
So,
And that, I think, is something that probably every administrator, certainly in special education and even general ed, works with, would be, you know, when a teacher has a student assigned who just doesn't fit her or his model of what kids should be like and what they can do with kids, then they want them out. And a lot of kids, you know, would be, they would attempt to refer out. And then we would begin a whole process of team meetings and offering more support for the teacher. And on occasion, there would be a teacher where I would agree that just, you know, I learned to cut my losses, I guess, earlier on after working with Vicci some, because there are some things that you can really teach and change, and there are some value structures or attitudes that can't really be changed, not easily. And so I got better at focusing our energy in areas where we really could make a difference for children and their families. So
I think one of the biggest compliments I got from Larry early on when he said, these other people that we bring in write us reports and we just file them. But what you give us is results because you're in the setting, you're not, you're really getting things to happen, you know, rather than playing with paper.
Right, really, in the field.
Yes. And you didn't there were no restrictions on the hours at that time.
No, not
which
at
worked
that
out
time.
perfectly because I got to focus in on the issues related to certain cases. And I didn't have a lot of them at the time.
No, but there is a growing number.
Yes, there were.
A growing number. As the districts were less capable, certainly in the 90s, and had less resources available to them to try to serve their kids, the county office received a great increase of referrals for kids who were spectrum kids on the ASD spectrum. And so we had growing classes, growing, you know, numbers of classrooms, and a growing need for Vicci and her staff.
And as a result of that action planning session, that's when I realized we needed a curriculum. And it took me 8 years to develop it. But it made a huge difference in the long run.
Huge
And
difference.
so I had a wonderful experience there with Michelle. Absolutely. Once in a while we disagree.
Once in a while you'd hear hooting from, you know, coming out of the mobile trailer that we had at Stillwell School between Gail and Vicci and I. A little hooting now and then never hurt
A little
anybody,
bit.
you know.
But in reality, and then I invited them to present with me at a conference, and
Oh, yes,
I'll
you
never
did.
forget Michelle saying, "You're actually funny,"
Yeah,
because I was serious all the time.
all the time. You were so serious and so focused, and I had no idea you had such a wonderful sense of humor. But in LA, we had such a good time.
No, we had a really good time. So I learned a lot from her. I think we both learned a lot from each
Oh,
other.
yes, we did, and I continue to learn.
Yes.
What's this big thing that's coming up, this big conference or this big,
It's it's the Competent Learner Model, CLM conference.
right?
That's in PA, and I think this is the third one, second one or third one.
But is it a celebration of, it's a celebration of the CLM and all the years that
Yes.
it's been, and so how many years has it been?
Oh God, the CLM has been in place for, well, in Pennsylvania, it's been in place over 12 years. And so I think we're in 128 classrooms, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're really here to talk about the years we spent together.
We did have fun.
Yeah, we did have fun.
We had a lot of fun, and I always tell Christina that I am the teacher I am because of you. And here's
Oh,
why.
Please.
Here's why, Vic. Because I'll never forget the one day you pulled me aside and you said, I am going to teach you to teach everybody who walks into your classroom. And you did. You did that for me. And throughout my career, no matter where I've been, I've always been the last stop. I've always been the person who, we don't know what to do with this kid in this class, so they pull him and they put him in my class, and I build up their repertoires, and then they can go back out. So that has all, you really did truly teach me how to teach everybody. I at one point in time, I thought, wow, that is just amazing that she did that for me. That there is
But
no
Rebecca,
one.
you were already really good with
But
kids.
you gave me, what you gave me was a label for everything I was doing. I may have had good instincts,
Okay.
but I didn't know why, and I couldn't replicate it because it was.
So you couldn't explain it
I
to
couldn't
your
ex-
parents?
I couldn't explain it to my parents. I couldn't explain it to anyone else, parents or administrators. I just would say, well, it's just the way I teach. But you were the one who told me, no, this is what you're doing.
So the language made a difference.
It made a huge difference for me. It made a huge difference.
Yeah, it seems to be true all over the world.
Right.
Everywhere I go. And I think that there was a cadre of people we taught at the same time.
Right.
And I think that really helped. I mean, I learned from you all what curriculum to develop. Those 36 lessons I developed
Yeah.
was being in your classrooms. And it was quite an amazing experience. Since I didn't know half the time what I was doing.
And being a brand new teacher, because Vicki, when I came to you and I started working with you in the beginning, I was a brand new special ed teacher. I had taught gen ed before, the several years beforehand, but I was a brand new special ed teacher. And to have that background in behavior was just so valuable as a teacher as I've gone on. The fact that we once a month, do you remember once a month we used to go to Gail Ulich's house and we'd sit there and we would talk about behavior. And there were all those moments where I was like, oh, that's why they do that. Oh my God, that's why they do that. And it just, everything we did in that period of time helped me so much as a teacher. And then the other part that was so valuable was you were my coach in the truest sense. There would be some blow up with a student and you would just say, okay, do this. Now, Rebecca, try this. Now, nope, that didn't work. Back up a little bit. That was powerful for me.
Quite different from consultation.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, and that
Yeah.
is the piece I think
Yeah.
that really, because it was in the moment, and I could start. And then you trained me to start thinking the way that you think. So that also was very valuable.
Yeah.
So
I think that the most important piece for me was discovering those 7 repertoires and really beginning to see how Skinner's verbal operants and nonverbal operants were the building blocks.
right.
That's what helped me develop the curriculum. The CLRA still seems to work
It
quite
does.
well.
And I still use it on my with this class it's a little different, but my lower level kids,
Yes.
I still use it to this day. I mean, 30 years later, Vicki, this is my
Oh, that's
this
unbelievable.
is my 30th year. So
Wow.
yeah, I still use it. Those and the repertoires are still go through my head.
Yeah.
And I mean, you really taught me how to teach.
And you were really good at delivering that curriculum. I wasn't sure if you really wanted to,
Yeah.
because it was so scripted and stuff, but
Right.
the kids performed
Oh.
so well.
Well, and I'll
That's
never
really
forget that being
model.
Modeling
Modeling
test.
Yeah.
So I still use that every day
Yeah.
and everything I do.
Yeah.
It
It's
is-
trippy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is such so having the two together, the background and the behavior, and then having that really strong instructional piece
Yeah.
that direct instruction gave me, just made me
Yeah.
a really effective teacher.
Well, I'm learning more about fluency. I'm learning more about precision teaching.
Yeah.
And I have the aims built into the curriculum, but I'm learning much more about the value of it
Yeah.
in terms of a whole new field called generativity.
I've seen just from Facebook posts from
Yes, yes,
Facebook.
yes, which I'll share with you more as I learn more about. I'll send you my PowerPoints
I
and
love
stuff.
that.
Yeah, because the thing that's happened over these 20-something years, maybe it's longer, is that I would hear from parents and I'd hear from teachers, they've learned to do something I haven't taught them. I've learned to do something they haven't, it's
Yeah.
like, where did it come from? How did they learn this? I'm shocked, and so learning under novel circumstances. And I think we solved some of that when we were working together.
We did, and remember that was part of we knew that we needed to teach that to kids.
Yes.
You remember way back when we were like, okay, they know it in this situation. It's in a routine situation.
Right.
Now the next step is teaching it or seeing
Across
what they can
people,
do.
places, and items.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was really important.
Yeah.
And the thing that happens though now with it, you know my chart that has the functional actions on the outside of it.
Right.
The next thing I'm really going to start working on with the whole generativity thing is that I want people to not teach those things explicitly.
Mhm.
Because what I've learned is the kids become prompt dependent. The
Right.
little guy's name at this point, I remember his face, and I remember, and I don't want to say his name, but I remember him lining up everything. You remember that?
I do.
And then a couple years later, because of your work with him, he was in general ed in a kindergarten class, and he was learning letter sounds
Mhm.
as in this large 30 kid group. You know, I mean, of course she was using DI
Right.
reading
Right.
to teach it, but he was so excited, and you know, we never ever imagined him
Oh no,
going
not
that far.
one. Yeah. No way. Not
no
that
way,
kid.
not when he first came in.
Well,
So-
and remember when we first started looking at the direct instruction curriculum, I remember you saying to me, Rebecca, pull out the format and apply it in other places.
Yeah.
And that was so valuable. I think so many of my kids, and I've had pretty good success with getting kids out of special ed and into gen ed again, and I think it's because of that. It's that, you know, being able to teach that familiar language. And
Yes.
it's so,
And that participator
and the
repertoire
participator. 'Cause
across all four
that
conditions.
really has been, I mean, not my main focus, but it really is the thing I think that's critical for kids when they go into gen
Yeah.
ed is they need to be able to participate. So,
Yeah, I think that's it.
yeah, I do too.
Uh,
So it has been a wonderful partnership. I've
Totally.
learned
And we
so-
don't see each other enough.
We don't.
So-
And I think, you know,
A lot
there
of a lot of teachers have benefited from our work together
I-
all over the world.
yeah, which
I
makes me
learned-
so proud.
Oh, it's
Every
so-
time I see that, you know, it's here and it's there and now it's across the ocean and now it's in, you know, Abu Dhabi of all places, it just makes
And
me.
Dubai.
Yes, which just makes me so proud that, you know,
Well, what the-
and I feel so fortunate that I got to be a part of that and that
You got to be part of the development of it.
which is so exciting to me.
Yeah.
At the time, I never knew that that's what we were doing.
No, I didn't either. I never even thought of
Yeah.
it. No, it never dawned on me.
But it was a great experience, and it's still one of, I always tell people that is one of my, you know, it made me